Hi fellas, well, I got my carburetors back from my mate who's got the ultrasonic cleaner. He took them, I split them apart and split them into two separate containers so they didn't get mixed up. And he left them in his cleaner. He had them all week. He said he had to leave them overnight. This is one of these ultrasonic cleaners that's got the heater so it warms the stuff up. They came up gleaming. Took all the jets out. You had to leave the jets soaking overnight in the cleaning fluid. If I can, now these were bogging. Now that the other bike I bought, let's give you a comparison. Those carbs are bad. But these weren't too bad, but the internals, I think you saw in the video, one carb was, the bowl was full of rusty water. The other one was full of caked in oil. I don't know how they were so different. But put them back together. Now, all you need to check when you're putting them together and you're putting these top clamps on, if you have any resistance of putting these screws on, something's wrong. Now, I put them in, and the little butterflies on the throttle had slipped round opposite way to what they were meant to do, and were hitting on the needle slides. So I take them all apart again, and I couldn't get in that last screw, and that's when I noticed these were flipped around the other way, because it's a total twat getting that spring. That spring goes in okay. Inside there, that bit there has got a spring on, and it fits. If you can see there, you've got to pull that spring down. You've got the top washer's got to go on there, the bottom washer's got to go underneath. You've got to try and slip that in while putting this balance pipe in and getting that spring in, fit it all together, and it's all to cock. And while I was doing that, that's when I rotated. They rotated over, so I take it all apart again, put it back together again, and then I noticed you see that spring, focus, that spring there, see how loose it is. Now, luckily I had this other carburetor, see how tight that spring is. Now when you pull the choke in, they're both working, but that spring there, that's what pulls. Obviously when you pull the choke, the main drive pulls this around, and then that spring rotates the opposite one around. If you can see, if it will focus. Focus. It's not going to focus. Oh, here we go. So you pull that around. Now it is working fine, but I'm sure that spring, you can see it, it shouldn't be like that. It sort of unwound itself. So whether I'm going to take them apart again, because if you look on that carburetor, that spring's all tensioned up. So I think this must have spun loose and uncoiled itself. Now it works fine, but that's going to be a nose. Now when the carburetor repair kit came with the gaskets in, servicing kit, it had the main gasket that went on the bottom of the bowl here, but inside there, God, bloody thing, where you got your little spring in here, and there's your diaphragm. The diaphragms were lovely and clean, luckily. And there's a tiny little, if you can see it in that kit, that tiny little rubber there is meant to be a replacement for the one in there. It's totally different. That one was so flat. The one that was in there was almost like it was cut off a tube. It's quite a deep recess. So I don't know if I'm going to have a leak from there, because I couldn't replace that rubber. It came with two new float the little rubber thing that floats up and down on the, that stops the fuel coming out. It came on 2 of those. Oh, if I can show you the bit I'm talking about. It came with 2 new ones of those, which I've replaced. I don't know where the other rubbers go. I think that the big rubber is the O-ring that goes on the inlet manifold. We'll try that in a sec, see if that fits. But they're cleaned up beautiful. The main jets were totally jammed with oil, dried up oil. I will try and retension that spring, but I think you've got to take them apart again, because it starts stretching the spring when you stretch it, try and get it round this mechanism. But that's the carbs cleaned up anyway. I'll get them wrapped up and put away. And another job ticked off. Okay, see you fellas.